at her.
She's cute, huh?
She is so
How
cute.
did that?
She looks so cute. What's her name?
Tinka.
Oh, Tinka. I remember that. I remember the name now.
Yeah. She's got a corpse paint and everything. Sant du har? Du är så fin.
So how was your day?
Um, Good. I'm tattooing a Swede. Second day. And he's getting tortured tomorrow as well.
Hmm.
And we're doing a leg sleeve. He's got some awesome work by some Swedish tattoo artists.
Yeah.
And I'm connecting everything with wood carving. So I'm having a blast. It's the second time he's with me. So,
Oh, that's great.
but last time he drove home 14 hours right after I was done tattooing him on his leg for 4 or 5 hours. This time he takes an extra day, which is good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Give him, some
Yeah.
time to recover a little bit. Let
Yeah.
let those nerves shake it out a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
So let me introduce you. So talking to my good friend, my own tattoo artist extraordinaire, Miss Jannicke Wiese-Hansen. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing good, sir.
Yeah, so good to see you as always.
Thanks, the same. What is
And
the world coming to? It's like sitting in your living room talking to you.
right, right. And so you and I been client, artist, right, friends for just over 3 years now.
Right.
Figured that out
Yeah.
because the first time I went to Inferno was 2022.
Right.
But I like to think in my own sick head that that we were friends long before that because I mean you have designed and drew some of the best album covers and logos that Norwegian black metal has ever seen or black metal has ever seen. And I've always had
And some bad ones.
and some bad ones and some bad ones, of course. But that's neither here nor there. But I've always had a deep appreciation for what you do as an artist, and I'm just so thankful to have you in my life as a friend. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. And very much the same. Because you're awesome.
I,
You know that.
I try my best. Uh, but like I said before, it's shit. Ever since I started this podcast, I mean, you were one of the first persons that I've actually asked, and it's taken us 3 years and some change to finally get going. But
Yeah.
hey, all good things come to those who wait, as they say.
Yeah, that's most of my clients as if they want cover work or logo work that I'm not the fastest one around, so they'll all witness to that. So
Yeah. So a lot like other podcasts done before, but I want to get to know you. I mean, I know some of your story. Most people don't if they're not paying attention to what you do as an artist, if they're not informed about you. So I like to get your story and go as far back as you want to go with it. Um, Tell me everything. What made you happy? Who hurt you? What got you started? All the good stuff.
well, I've always been drawing, like from before I could walk. Um, and I got into metal around 8th grade, I think. And we're not that many metal people in Bergen, which is not the biggest city in the world, but it's the second largest in Norway. So we pride ourselves with that. But I guess I started drawing metal related things. Actually, I went to high school in the States in 89, 90, up north of Seattle in Anacortes. And while I was there, I remember actually doing a watercolor painting of Death, Scream, Bloody Gore and one of the Creator albums. So I guess I started early with just doing some metal drawing. But the guys here in Bergen, Harald and Olve, wanted to form Immortal. So they asked me to do the Immortal logo. And I was like, I don't know how to do logos. Well, yeah, we just want an inverted cross, and you're not supposed to be able to read it. If you can't recognize the logo, you have to read it on the side, like the name of the band on the side of the album or CD. Um, and that's where it all started, I think. When I started drawing logos and album covers for Burzum and Satyricon. Um, I've done Immortal cover art, and the logos, I guess, is the first two logos of Enslaved. The first one for Immortal, Orcustus, Ancient, later Galsveld and Angel and Leakball. I did Inquinox. That's the only American band I did a logo for.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that
Um,
between sessions.
yeah, and I pimped up the Ulvar logo with just the pattern, the braided pattern inside the logo. And I'm currently working on the third Death Cult album cover. And I've done the two before also. Oh, and Mork. I've done a Mork album cover and some work for an inner cover on another one.
So,
Um,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, the band I work the most with is Enslaved, definitely.
Yeah.
I've designed jewelry for them and posters and hoodies and t-shirt designs and a lot of different stuff. And I also did the arm with the Spike Club for Death Like Silence Productions, the No Mosh logo.
Yep, that's a very very important logo and graphic design that you made there because uh here in the States it's like an infamous type of I mean I don't know probably everywhere besides Norway it's just one of those infamous designs that you know exactly I mean if you're in tune to black metal and you follow everything extreme you know exactly where that comes from and I know that certain releases, certain albums, there's only so few of those that carry that logo from Euronymous' label.
Mm.
And I was just ecstatic whenever you gave me my first Death Like Silence pin, and I carry it with me everywhere. And I've received so many uh like offers to buy it. I was like, nah, bro, y'all not getting this one. Sorry. Like this one's coming to the grave with me. Like for real.
So they do recognize it then
They do
over there.
recognize it. Yeah. Yeah. Like I mean, it's a close circle of friends here that in Lafayette, that's and I would include New Orleans as well, that only knows so much about the significance of that drawing that you made. And when they saw it on my jacket after you gave it to me when I came back to the States, uh, some notable musicians here in the States were like, "Give me that shit." I was like, "The fuck I am." So thank you again.
Well, you're very, very welcome.
Um, but I'm really interested in knowing because like you've known all these talented musicians from Bergen and all over Norway. How and where and when I say did you started making a name for yourself as like did that was that in the middle of junior high or high school years coming up with those guys in Enslaved and so forth?
The whole making of a name that just slipped away from my mind forever, actually. I didn't even have it on my Facebook page that I've been doing the enslaved logos until 2012, I think.
Wow.
Because then I was going to organize or I organized there was a mama for black metal, which was a one-off festival here. That was a tattoo convention and a movie festival and bands from the Norwegian black metal scene from like 1994 and earlier.
Mhm.
And I was going to invite some tattoo artists from the States, like Kelly Dottie, and a lot of people who didn't, of course, know who I was. And also Kamfar and some of the bands here that I didn't really personally know
Mhm.
that well, anyway. So I kind of had to show that I'm in the scene as well. So that's when I started putting up things that I'd made, the logos and the two first Burzum album covers and such. because at some point, it might be very Norwegian, but at some point, especially like the first album cover for Burzum, became so, I don't know, iconic to
Mhm.
black metal
Yeah,
that I feel like it was completely bragging, say, oh, I made that, you know.
right.
So I just kind of left it until those days, and I had to kind of show who I was. So I was just there. We were just hanging out as friends. They could do music. I definitely could not. I have complete stage fright, but I was drawing all the time. So they're like, yeah, you do the drawing. I'm like, okay. That was kind of it.
And how far back do you go with all those musicians? Like everyone that you've done work for. I mean, is that like back in your teens, you would say?
Oh, yeah. I started hanging out with, well, Viking when I was 17, I think. I met Evil of Enslaved. He was 14 when we started, like when we first met. Ishan of Emperor was quite young as well. So I think he's like 1 or 2 years younger than me, and I was 17. So quite early. Frost, I met because he was supposed to record something in Grieghall. I can't remember if it was Gorgoroth or who he was playing with at the time. But Eystein, Euronymous, was asking me if I could just have a guy staying for a few days at my house, me and my mom's house. So that was the first time I met Frost, sitting in my sofa and not talking much. But but he also was quite young.
Yeah.
So we go back quite some time.
Was not everyone was all from Bergen though, right? Like all the
Sorry?
like all the musicians you just named, like they're not all from the
No,
same
no,
from Bergen.
no. But it was, back then we didn't have any money for hotels and stuff. If people needed to go record in the Grieghall, but they were from Oslo, they needed a place to stay. So at some point, I had Grutle and Hellhammer staying in my room. I had Frost staying over for a while. When I moved out, I think in 95 or 96, I had all of Emperor plus their girlfriends living in my my apartment while they were recording the Anthems album.
Mhm.
I didn't have a big place. It was like three people in one bed and mattresses on the floor and two people on sofas. But it was very cool. And actually, that was very nice because they went to Grieghall to record the album. And every day when they came back, they're listening through what had been done that day. So it's really nice to be a part of the build up and just hear the build up of that album from scratch.
Yeah, you were in the thick of it. I mean, from ground zero when it comes to all Norwegian black metal, and it's to say that I'm envious of that, it would be the understatement of a lifetime.
It
Um,
was kind of it was a part of it was a little bit sucky too. You
yeah,
know, Eystein
yeah,
got
yeah.
killed.
Of course. I mean, for obvious reasons, definitely.
Um, yeah, there's a couple of things that was not awesome. But of course, looking back at it now, it's like if you survive a storm, it sucks when you're in the storm, but afterwards, you remember the nice things about it too.
I while it's on the top of my head, I would never forget the moment that you were tattooing me, and we took a break to go see Godflesh, and we were standing together, and you had mentioned you pointed over, you said, you know who that is, right? And I couldn't tell because like every Norwegian there was long black hair and leather, that's kind of that's how everyone looks over there. And then I was like, no, not really, but you identified them straight away, and it was Frost. And I just looked at you like, oh my God, it's like my favorite drummer of all time. And you're like, do you want to meet him? And I was like, okay. And you took the picture of us and everything. And oh my God, that was just like, it was so casual and so matter of fact for y'all. But to me, I mean, my inner 15, 16-year-old was just screaming like, oh my God, I just met Frost. I just met him. He took a picture with me. He asked how I was doing. So that was, I mean, I've had plenty of moments like that just knowing you. And and it's another one of the biggest perks of just being your friend, because like all these all these guys that you had known all these years and lived with you, they just y'all just hang out and it's just, like one big family over there. And now it's just it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if it was opposite and I came to the States and just suddenly started hanging out with the bigger bands over there, I'd be like, starstruck pretty much all the time.
Mhm.
I was when in Austin when I was tattooing Tommy Lee also. I was like completely starstruck.
Oh,
And yeah,
you tattooed Tommy Lee from Motley Crue?
yeah.
Oh, you never told me that.
I didn't.
Oh,
Sorry.
so just now.
Well, I was tattooing in Austin on 6th Street. And I was just sleeping on the couch of whoever I was tattooing with, who had the shift. And this one guy was like, "Yeah, tomorrow, there are going to be some guys coming in and getting tattooed, and I think maybe you know who they are, but to me, everybody's equal, and I don't really care what they are." I'm like, "Who are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, I don't make a difference if it's a rock star or not." And I'm like, "Who are you talking about?" Well, but I just figured, oh man, it was Motley Crue with Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee coming in. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be there at least, you know, from little Norway. Um, and I was there and I started talking to Tommy Lee, and he had the Pamela ring tattooed on him, like
Yeah.
a marriage kind of wedding ring. And he wanted to get that one covered up and some other stuff. Make a star. He had a star on one hand. He wanted the same one on the other hand and expand both of them and some other rings. So I ended up tattooing him. Um, and it was a lot of fun for 3 hours. And I was like, man, I was in seventh heaven. I'd just been tattooing for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years at the time.
Oh,
So I was completely starstruck. And I got International Enquirer. That was my 2 seconds of fame. Picture of Tommy Lee, me, and Pamela Anderson
there
in
you
National Enquirer. Can't get better than that.
were you the new love interest from Tommy Lee? Was that part of the Inquirer's
Uh,
line?
no, but um, there was a piercer at the shop who could have been the new love interest. But she didn't recognize Tommy Lee, which was kind of cute,
Hmm.
actually. He was trying to pick her up for like 2 hours, and she's like, And it's like, well, are you going to the concert? Because they had the greatest hits tour. So you going to the concert? And she's like, what concert? Well, with them. She's like, who are they? Motley Crue. And suddenly she was like, oh, okay. But no, she didn't.
How
They
unfortunate.
never made it.
No.
But it was fun to see him try though, because he tried really hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said you got incredible stage fright. But was there ever a point whenever like hanging out with all those musicians in Bergen? I mean, you never got behind a mic or anything, or try your hand at something, some instrument?
No,
Oh,
I started playing the guitar in fourth grade, but I got these blisters on my fingers and I didn't want to do it anymore. My mom was like, "You're gonna regret that." I'm like, "Mm-mm, I'm not gonna regret it. Of course, it sucks. I regret it now." Um, and I think twice I've sung Steel Panther Community Property. No, 3 times on karaoke. That's how far it goes.
there you go. And
Yeah,
I remember.
I've been sitting on stage getting like interviewed or in like different panels and talking about different stuff. Um, and I black out every time. Kind of like what I do on podcasts because I really can't remember what I've been talking about afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in good company. You know that because I mean, my mind is like 20 hamsters on methamphetamine sharing one wheel. So, you know,
Well,
there you go.
yeah. Mm.
But going back to your teen years, I mean, what was it like to just kind of up and leave Bergen for the States? I mean, what kind of feelings you were going through your mind doing that?
It's kind of scary because you're leaving everything that you know behind. Sort of. I was going to live with my dad. He was living up there. So, that was okay, but I was going to go to high school and we'd all seen the crazy high school movies. I had a much more crazy life here actually because we were drinking every weekend when I was like 14, 15. Um, certainly that was not the case in Anacortes. But it was a lot of fun. It was really nice for the self-esteem that was below zero here, bullying, all the crap. Um, and when you get over there and you get your friends on your own and you can just be yourself completely, it's really nice. I have a dog that's hinting terribly much that she needs to go outside for a second.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to let her out and be back, and then I'm going to let her back in
It's
5 minutes.
Problem.
Just a second.
And we're back.
And we're back. Just leaving the door open. She can handle herself.
There you go. So you said you experienced some bullying. Did I hear that right? Was the bullying in Bergen or in the States?
Yeah. Oh, Bergen.
Oh,
I'm a big girl. I've always been a big girl. And yeah, no, it was pretty bad. It was, guys waiting for me on the way home from school to kick my ass just because I'm fat, all that stuff. So I had to walk around. Yes, of course. I had no girls actually bullying me. There was this little bundle of guys. And my dad told me in fourth grade that I was so big and strong that if I got really angry at someone, I could end up hurting them.
oh, I'm sure.
And I was so damn nice that I didn't want to hurt nobody. So I was just taking it. So I didn't retaliate or anything because I didn't want to hurt them. So they just bully me without any reactions.
Do you know if I know Bergen's a relatively small city, but do you know if there like anything amounted to those guys like later in life? I mean, probably couldn't do
It
anything.
didn't go very well with all of them. I've seen them on the bus a few times. I've been thinking, well, karma's a bitch.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because I mean, it takes not alone to bully someone, but to, bully someone from, on the opposite sex. That's another level of just asshole, I mean,
Yeah.
and cowardice, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. Like that makes me
Well,
angry.
thank you. It's okay, but it leaves wounds, but I guess it builds character somehow.
So,
But
so
it's
what?
I'm kind of making it into little stuff now, but it was pretty bad. At some point, I was in like children's school, elementary school. I was walking towards the school building. As soon as I turned a corner and saw the school, I threw up and went home. Like it was just like that for
Yeah.
a while.
I,
So,
I too have a close friend of mine. She was bullied, like for stupid, selfish reasons by the bullies in high school, and we had our high school reunion, our 25th, and she told me like she did not want to participate. Only reason why she went is because uh, there, I decided to go for the first time in God knows how long, and some other friends of mine had went that graduated with, and she said like she literally saw the school and had the same reaction as you. She just threw up.
yeah,
It's just like those feelings just come rushing back to the surface, and there's just no way of avoiding that. As much healing that took place, it just kind of resurfaces, and so
oh yeah.
it's terrible.
Now I've had incidents. I used to be a bouncer at Garage, a legendary rock pub that was here. I was a bouncer in the 90s because, of course, I got into weightlifting over in the States at
Yeah.
high school, 2 hours every day. And I was a bouncer here, but it just a few times I could just remember somebody in the door while making trouble said some sentence, and it turned me into like a 9-year-old girl in my mind. It was really weird. And of course, I snapped out of it again. But it's really when you least expect it, people can get through that wall that you have,
Right.
which sucks because it
Yeah.
just gets you every time. Like it really surprises me when people can actually get through my wall because I got a pretty good wall around me.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine so because, I just given that bit of information and in your personal involvement with with Austin as well, and having gone through all that ordeal growing up. I mean, I'm amazed at just like how well, you kept your shit together as a human being, just, and let alone being an accomplished world-renowned artist, growing up. I mean, that's just saying just so much about you and your personal resolve.
Thank you. I guess I just choose to forget or put away into drawers
Hmm.
shit, and then it comes bubbling up once in a while.
Yeah. So, so years go by, as you grow up and you find yourself in what was life like living in the States? Having experienced all that, I'm sure you had like told yourself maybe this is a new start, like a fresh, clean slate in the States. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, the worst bullying was in elementary school, and then I started junior high, which wasn't as bad, and I started getting into metal and battle vest and spikes and whatever. And then I came to the States, where, of course, the high school crowd looked at that weirdo from Norway, called me oversized Norwegian freak and Amazon woman. I loved it. Um, and thought that leopard tights and spikes were the fashion in Norway, which I had to tell them that no, it's not. It's actually the same as here. Um, but I really enjoyed it. It was a fresh start, but I didn't know at the time that it was that. And I had good friends here, like here in Bergen as well.
Mhm.
Um, I was got this close to being engaged with Erik Brødreshift before I left, but I figured I was a little bit too young. So it was the metal crowd here already. So
so let's talk about how you got into metal then. Let's start there as far as the music's concerned.
I have two friends to blame for that.
Who are
That
they?
would be Agneta and Nina. Nina was in my class, and Agneta was a stepsister, 1 year older. And we are close friends today, especially me and Agneta are very dear friends still. And we got into black metal together as well. Um, I was 14. They started going into like getting into Maiden and Motley and those kind of bands. I just kind of went from, I think I went from Michael Jackson to um, breakdance to Anthrax, I'm the Man, and Metallica and Overkill, Tank Guard, all that stuff. I
Wow.
didn't stop in the more melodic things in the middle there,
Mhm.
which was I got back to them afterwards, but yeah, my EP, I still got it somewhere on vinyl. This Anthrax, I'm the Man.
Oh wow. Dang. So you were taken by the thrash scene then.
Yes,
So
completely. DRI loved it.
hell yeah. And then so obviously, you came up with all those musicians that were into the same, musical interest. Uh, that all these artists that would go on to start the black, like the I guess that's considered the second wave of black metal in Norway. And
Yeah.
and I mean, since you were there in the scene, I mean, like, who did you first gravitate towards when it came to black metal? I mean, if you could be completely objective, separating, your friends
Hmm.
from
No. Hey.
might be next to impossible.
No, hmm. We really loved Old Funeral, of course, because they were just so damn awesome. Um, and we had these other small bands up here. We have Emtor, which was Eric Brødreshift Grim on drums. They did a trash version of the Samantha Fox song.
Mhm.
What's the song? Touch Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They had a trash version of that one. A very amazing one. Um, But I think Emperor and Enslaved, if I have to pinpoint it, like which directly I really love,
Hmm.
is Emperor and Enslaved. I've always loved the big sound of Emperor.
Yeah.
And Enslaved, they're I don't know, my family. So everything from the early metal albums to later prog, I really love their journey.
Yeah. It seems like they even the Emperor. I mean, Ishan as a songwriter. I mean, you could just tell that they evolved with every album that they released. They just, it's like every band that came up in Norway, it's like it was completely unholy. It continues to be for some bands, and then like the musicianship takes on a whole nother uh wavelength, I guess. It just becomes more complex, more melodic in some areas, even more punishing, even more
Mm-hmm.
but to me it's beautiful all the same because it's something that I was talking to this I might have said it on the last thing I recorded, but it's like there's only certain personalities and certain mindsets that can digest black metal or absorb it for what it is. Rest of the world can't. But once you do, there's no going back to anything else. I mean,
No, completely true.
at least, you're, for me, I'm not looking outward to American mainstream, pop music or anything like that to make me feel
Right?
the way black metal makes me feel.
Yeah, it's got a this. I don't know. I guess it affects everyone differently, but it has this soothing, calming effect on me.
Hmm. I mean, even when
Together with like bubbles up the spine at the same time.
exactly, and even whenever someone's sitting through a 5 hour tattoo session that's getting covered, lines
Sorry.
and then white accents.
Yeah,
don't
it will get
don't
you
t-
through that as well.
don't tend to think about the pain as much,
That's true. It's
especially
a
when you got.
calming factor.
I mean, you had. I mean, to your credit, you had. You always have the best playlist. If we can't hear the band playing at the convent at Inferno Fest, you always have your playlist ready. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, and I always and that's the cool thing because I always find out something new every time I sit in your chair. There's always something new that catches my ear, and I mean, if I don't ask you because you're concentrating on drawing on me or tattooing me, I just have to like do a quick little um Shazam and see what's going on the phone and like okay, saved.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to take credit for that though, because that's my clients. I'm stuck in the 90s a lot,
Oh, same here.
but I have some clients. Yeah, so I have some clients who are like, "Have you heard this? Have you heard that?" And I'm like, "Okay, we can listen to a couple of songs." And then sometimes it really fetches me. So most recently, Kanonenfieber and Grab is really good. The Vegan of Freiheit was not so much now, but I listened to that record, Finisterre, like every day for 2 years, I think. So I kind of get stuck on things, but I'm very happy that some people show me new things. And I have also so to say, have you heard Angel,
I don't think I have.
the Ishan's son?
No, I heard about his
Ishan's
son
son.
having a project though.
Yeah, and I just made the logo for it, and it's ridiculously good. So check that out. When we're over here, you have to check it out
Oh,
because it's really good.
yeah. I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, coming
Yeah.
from coming
I mean,
from
he's his dad's son, obviously.
yeah.
He's talented from
I,
here to hell.
I don't know if I told you, but you the was it the first or my second year at Inferno staying at the hub? I know you remember this because you stayed there too, and we had that emergency evacuation because the alarms are going off in the middle of the night. Like someone was either smoking or partying in the rooms, and so
Oh yeah.
the alarm systems went off, and the hub security made us evacuate, and
Hmm.
we all went across the street. Well, little did I know, Ishan and his son was staying 2 rooms down from me, and I followed them. I followed him all the way down all the flights of stairs and whatnot. And I was like, oh, like he turns around because like all I saw was pulled back, ponytail, and he starts talking to his son. I was like, holy shit, it's Ishan himself. He's just as inconvenienced as I am.
It's very cool though. His son is 17, well, 18 now, I think. So it's really cool with the young people getting into this to like releasing music
Yeah. I,
still.
I know like here in the States, in the Gulf Coast especially, there are so many younger kids. I mean, probably, the average age of maybe 24, 25 years old, if not younger. Like there's like this thrash movement that's just
Mhm.
taking off. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see like, like 20 somethings, back to wearing, the Nike white high tops and the black pants and battle vests and whatnot, and and just going big, just going for it on stage at local shows and whatnot. So that's pretty cool
Oh yeah.
to see.
There's going to be a local show tomorrow here with in Culture and two other bands. I think Carmen is going to be my colleague. Carmen is going to be the DJ, um, and it's going to be really cool. That's also like people in their 20s going crazy for old sounding, but still, inventing new stuff
Yeah,
with the bands.
it's kind of reassuring seeing like all those 20 somethings, it's like, okay, right, metal's going to be in a good place.
Yeah.
It's like we're yeah, there's a big share of the core bands like death cores and the metal cores and all that shit. Um,
Mm.
if I offend anyone, grow some thick skin. That's all I can tell you. But but I mean, thrash
Yeah.
metal and everything extreme metal it's I think it's going to be in good hands with the younger crowd.
Yeah. Somebody's very jealous, by the way.
Tika,
She's like, "You're talking to the screen, mom, not with me."
she's so cute. Love her.
She's very cute.
You need to bring her. You can't bring her to the festivals when you tattoo.
No,
That's
nuh-uh.
that's just not right. You need to accommodate her.
No. I always bring her to the Viking village when I go in there, but that's as far as she gets.
So let's talk about your art. It's it's very like Norwegian traditional Norse mythology. Uh, you know, laden and with all your designs. And if anyone needs like any uh example of that, I mean, the entire right arm is hers, and you have people like I said. I mean, flying from all corners of the globe to
Yeah,
to
I'm
get
a lucky girl.
to get tattooed by you, and that's saying a lot because your artwork is just no one does what you do, at least not the way you do it. Um, and I'm just curious, like, as far as the art, what would you say you started as, what kind of style, and just talk about the development into what you're doing now?
Well, I was trained kind of old school. I was gonna be good at everything.
Mhm.
So over 30 years ago, um, I was doing color and tribals and portraits and old school and everything. Um, then after, I don't know, maybe 10 years, if it was that long even, um, there was this guy coming in, the brother of Einar in Valdruna, actually. But he came in and he wanted to cover up like an old school eagle he had, and he wanted it like a woodcut raven. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do that. And I did that, and that was fun. And then I had another client coming in with the picture of an old wood carved clock, like the big ones that his grandfather had carved, and he wanted elements from the wood carvings made into a tattoo. And I was like, okay, well, I'm sure I can do that. I've done wood carving once before. And then this last guy came in with both his arms, and he wanted the Hylestad portal, which the portal is what you call the carvings around the doors on the Norwegian stave churches.
Mhm.
And some of them date back almost to the Viking Age, and actually a little bit into the Viking Age if you look at the layers in the church, when the floor is from. But the ornaments that adorn those doors are insanely beautiful. And the Hyllestad portal of the Hyllestad Stave Church tells a whole story, and he wanted that on both his arms. And then he went to this photographer who did really good pictures of him, and then he went to Pinterest and showed off his arms, and suddenly I had a market. And I had a colleague at the old shop, Shando Jordan. He's a German, but he's specialized in Oriental tattoos.
Mhm.
And he traveled the world, and he told me, like, okay, I know you do everything. Just forget about the other stuff. You do this because I've never seen it before. And I listened. So I started just showing off on Facebook the stuff with the wood carving, and then I didn't show off the other stuff I was doing. So kind of, I just kind of went for it, and I'm very happy I did so, because now it's like 95% of everything I do is the ornamentic wood carving style, but it can be mythology, like your favorite god or your myth, or even Haida First Nation wood carving style, because the texture is almost more important to me than what I actually do. I've done Star Wars wood carvings,
I've
you
seen
know.
you, I've also seen you tattoo another American with the Iron Maiden's Eddie
Yes.
on his leg. I forget his name. You know his name.
Yeah. I'm horrible with names,
I
so
know, I know. I
I can see
remember.
his face and I love him, but
I
I
know
right
he's
now, yeah.
short black hair, glasses,
Oh yeah.
and I think he's from Arizona. I think. I don't know. But yeah, fantastic tattoo though. It's one thing that just that stands out from some of the mythology pieces
Yeah.
that you've done. Because and I remember and I know that you've had some reluctancy to do the Burzum covers on people. And I know
Yeah.
there's one that really stands out because you did the Star Wars Yoda in the Bursum swamp design that you originally drew, and uh, that was brilliant. I was like really jealous of that
It was
tattoo.
it was so much fun, because the guy loves Star Wars and he loves Burzum. He loves cognac too. So if I'd thought more of it, I would have made Yoda with a little cognac glass, well, next to the tree of the Burzum cover. Now it was that was a lot of fun. But I've done lately. I've the first one who asked me to do the Burzum, or to tattoo the Burzum album cover on him. I told him I have to think about it, because I had a lot of resentment, a lot of hatred back when. And he let me think about it for 2 years. And I was like, well, if somebody's going to do it, it's going to be me. So then I started his back piece and did it on him. And after that, I've done it several times, not as much as you'd think, actually, but I've also done it wood carved twice, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I don't know if I should say, but I mean, we showed my tattoo to a lot of people, and but you were you I said Jannicke, this was the yeah, the second piece. The second piece that you did for me was the black metal homage tattoo. And
Yeah.
and you thought about it, you gave it some time, you gave it some thought, and you said you just need a burning church.
Yeah.
And and you told me like you're the first like I am the first person you ever put a burning church on their
Yeah.
skin. So yeah, suck it, everybody.
That was one thing I was amazed by. I went to a tattoo convention in New Zealand, and just walking around looking at people from all over the world having the flash of burning churches. I was like, when did that make it that big? It's interesting.
Well, I
Oriental people with like burning temples, like take it as far as you want.
yeah, and I never would have personally would have walked into any tattoo artists and point to some generic flash here in the States anyway. Maybe one thing to do it in Norway where all that started, but uh whenever you had the idea for it, I was like, this is the only person I'm gonna let tattoo me a burning church. because
Yeah.
it's I knew how personal your involvement was uh with Varg and his responsibilities revolving that all that shit. And I was like, if anyone's gonna do it, like you said, it's gonna be you. So I'm glad you did it.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah.
It was fun.
We have so much fun whenever you tat. I mean, I don't know how it is for everyone else, but I mean, aside from all, um, the actual pain that comes with the white highlights and tattooing on open
I'm
wound.
a walk in the park and you don't feel a thing, you
That's
know.
right. But yes, and I know asking artists like what's their favorite song that never wrote or anything like that, but what is something that that you took pride in doing as far as whether it's designing a logo or tattooing someone, like what is something that like you just kind of like hang your hat on, I'd say.
Well, there is this coin series I did, memorial coins for Isle of Man. That I guess that's pretty high up there.
Mhm.
Um, I did a series of memorial coins in silver and some gold coins and a kilo of silver coins. Um, all of them celebrating 400 years of Viking rule for Isle of Man in the UK.
Mhm.
Um, and my and the drawings that I made for it, the designs I made for it is Viking kings, it's battles, it's like Norse gods, and explorers, um, and was all ordered by the collector's house here in Norway and the Isle of Man, the Thing as it's called, the ruling organ up there, to celebrate that. So it's memorial points, and on one side it's the Her Majesty the Queens of the UK, her official portrait, and every sketch that I made had to be approved at Buckingham Palace in the UK. So it was kind of different. It's like interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so you go from black metal covers to the Queen of England. It's kind of nice. Also, I guess like working with the National Library of Norway to make the exhibition Bad Vibes that was there not last year but the year before. Now it's in Trondheim actually at Rockheim, the rock museum in Trondheim. But it was really cool also to be working with the National Library to make a proper exhibition of black metal. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that I would, I actually attended that, and I remember
Mm.
you actually hooked me up with Anders's bus tour, and
Oh yeah,
we made a stop at the library, and I was able to see all your artwork on display. Even bought the shirt too, because
yeah.
I just had to. I mean, it was just a
Because it
cool.
was such a nice logo,
It
right?
really is, and but yeah, it's just you know walking into that exhibition. It just it took me back to where whenever I was 14, 15 years old as an American kid, learning about all this through magazines initially, and then the internet came, and I had access to more I guess file sharing services that had
Yeah,
all these recordings and whatnot. And I only read, I was like, and I saw through pictures and articles about Mayhem and Burzum and Dark Throne and Golgoroth. And what's funny is I just got it. I think I showed you the picture, but I'll show the audience
oh yeah, you have to show because
because
it's mm,
I this album by Golgoroth Antichrist was actually the first thing I ever heard or was exposed to in a magazine or read about it. So that album's significance in my life personally was like that's what set me on the path of black metal. And
right.
and then because I saw, the infamous pictures of that concert that Gorgoroth got in all that trouble about when they had people crucified and had pigs' heads everywhere on the stage
Yeah.
and whatnot. And they got in some trouble about that. And but yeah, that's the album that pretty much set me on the path of black metal, and then people started making more and more recommendations. Well, if you like Gorgoroth, you should check out Dark Throne. You should check out Mayhem and so on and so forth. But leading me to my point is that you know going to the library and the museum and just like they had the door, the original door of Helvet's shop, the record store, and they had like a like like a scene of Oystein's room or office space where he had the typewriter and he was sending letters to like everywhere in the world about just tape trading and just getting like-minded individuals to send him music or whatever he was doing. And I was like, you know what? It just it was a surreal experience, and knowing you and like having your involvement with all of that and helping curate that uh, exhibition, it was just incredible. It's all I can say about it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't do so much curating because Thomas Alsha did.
Right.
Just, you know, credit due where credit is needed. It was me and Harald Fossberg and Thomas who helped out the National Library. So I guess I did more. We were discussing things there, but I was a lot more on design and the feel of the whole thing
Hmm.
also. And then Harald Fossberg was on the text and the writings and everything about it. But yeah, no, it was so cool.
I never.
My dad told me in the 90s that when I was a bouncer and a tattoo apprentice, he was like, "You're in your 20s now, and you need to do something proper. Like, quit fooling around with the jobs that you do now and become something of yourself."
Right.
And I didn't listen at all. And one day I was sitting here in my living room. I was on a Zoom meeting. That was the last time I used my iPad with the National Library. That's why I had to update it from, for now and forever earlier today. But I was sitting there with a Zoom meeting talking to the National Library. And my dad was calling me. I couldn't take the phone, of course. And afterwards, I told him, like, I'm sorry, but I was in a meeting with the National Library. And come to think of it, are you okay now with me not changing my work back then? He said, did I tell you to? No, I guess it's okay. It's just one of those, eat your hat. Here's some pepper.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And and I never asked you, but because but like right now we're talking about it. We're talking about um the those early days. Uh, well, if you could take me back to like let's say 93 to 90, 94 or 92 to 95 time frame, whenever that Norwegian black metal scene explodes. I mean, what was life like for you?
Well, we were very few at some point, especially in Western Norway. Um, so we knew each other well. We went to Haugesund to see Enslaved play, or Phobia, as they were called, um, and Embryonic, which turned into Emperor and stuff. So we were like really small groups of people, and we got to know each other. We went to Lillehammer and suddenly got to know a few people there because there were just like two or three black metal people there. And then shit hit the fan. And suddenly we had black metal tourists coming up here because it used to be such a little scene that if I was walking downtown and I saw somebody with long hair, I would ask somebody else, I saw some metal dude today, and then somebody else would know, oh, it's the cousin of such and such.
Mhm.
But suddenly you had all these strangers coming up here, wanting to meet their heroes, and actually you had like really like German metal guys going on buses for retired German old people, and there would be like one metal dude on the bus just wanting to come to Bergen, see the sights, and then go back on the cheap bus. It was a lot of fun. But we also had a lot of harassment because, you know, the satanic panic was all over the place and churches were burning, and all these, like Channel 4 in the UK and MTV was talking about the church burnings and this black metal satanic stuff. And suddenly other people, like normal straight people in the streets, were yelling at us when we were walking past, and guys were getting into trouble and fights and stuff. So it's kind of a weird time.
Yeah.
Actually.
Did you? I'm sorry. You was a mid thought. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say one thing that I do remember that was amazing was I've used a lot of time hating Val Vikanes, but he is an excellent game master for role playing. So he introduced us to role playing. So we had some epic adventures in our living rooms, just listening to the soundtrack of Da Totes King and have him as a game master and do Middle Earth role playing. So Øystein joined us once on Ravenloft, I think. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I guess I'm really curious. You know, I know he Øystein had asked you to do some art for his label, and you know, you've had to know him on a personal level. I'm just curious to know what kind of person he was. You know, like clearly you were friends with him, and and I think that's um I see so many documentaries of people talking about him that were there that knew him, and I think I want to know more about what he was like personally, rather than what he was trying to accomplish, or what as a label owner, because you hear like multiple sides of people, towards the end, that his personality flipped here and there. But
Yeah,
I guess I'm really curious to know, like, what was your experience like with him?
he was a sweet guy. That was my experience with it. Very mild, very like pleasant to talk to. I had a very calming kind of feeling around him. So he calmed people down around him as well. Um, I was staying over at Helvete when I was in Oslo, and that's when I was sitting down and just drawing the No Mosh logo when I was there. Um, and he was just really nice, actually. The way that he's portrayed in Lords of Chaos movie is just tragic, and I think also it's tragic how well everyone else was in that movie as well. So because it seems like, I'm sorry, I'm jumping to the
No,
movie instead
no, go
of
ahead.
him, but
Go ahead.
Because Varg and Øystein was really good friends, like brothers, good friends. And they were like, both of them were like, oh, now we're going to talk about ourselves in the third person and Count Grishnak and Count Euronymous and all this stuff, and really tight friendship. And then shit went down, and that's why that was so fucked up. But in the movie, it seems like they were like competitors from the get-go somehow.
Right.
And being a womanizer, which I'm so sorry, but never happened. But but I don't know. It was just weird seeing how they put that up as them not being that close friends, because they were for a long time until they weren't. But yeah, no, he was sweet, and he was I don't know, he was a natural authority. And now I'm going to say that again, authority, not authoritarian, but because somebody on the online actually accused me of lying like half a year ago, because they said that I in some interviews I said he was really sweet, and then in the other interviews I said he was an authoritarian,
Yeah.
which I've never said. It's just authority because he had Helvete and Death Like Silence Productions, and it was like, wow, that's the guy from Mayhem, you know.
Yeah.
So he left an impression, but it was really sweet. And the whole taking pictures of Dead, I didn't know Dead. I never met him. But that, of course, was tragic, and suicides always are. But that he went and bought a camera and took the pictures, and he's, of course, people are talking a lot about that. I completely get where he came from because our brains back then was they were in such a dark bubble that it was just like none of us would have done it now.
Right.
But back then it would have been more like if he was hurt, he would have done everything to help him. But Dead was dead, no pun intended. But
Right.
so you take pictures because then you can use it to something because everything was supposed to be so dark and necro and extreme and satanic and all that stuff that I see where it was coming from. I mean, I love animals. And I was walking home from school one day and it was a cat that had been very run over and the eyes were like popped out of the skull meters down the road. And had that cat had been a little bit alive, I would have done everything in my power to help it. But it was very dead. So of course I run home to get a plastic bag, to get the pieces, to boil the head, to get the skull. And my mom was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm gonna get a head like a cat, and I'm gonna boil it." She's like, "Not in my pants, you are." I'm like, "Oh, what?" But it's just, she's like, "No," and
Yeah.
I didn't really realize how sick that response was. Like that was the first thing I was thinking, like, "Oh, that's so cool," you know, brain tissue, rare.
Right. Right.
So in the way our minds were wired for what, maybe 2 years, 2 3 years around there. I see where that came from without it making him to a bad person.
Yeah.
And I see why people react to it, of course, and especially from if you weren't in that extreme bubble mentally,
Yeah.
it looked like an asshole move, you know?
Yeah. I know personally, just from, I just read what media journalists had got their hands on from Europe and the media outlets from there. So a lot of the information had changed hands and changed, and went through, every journalist's elaborate, you know, typewriters and whatnot, and just trying to build a story where they can. So it was hard to separate the truth from the false.
Yeah.
Even back then, I always consider myself a bright kid, and and I'm reading this shit, I'm like, did this really fucking happen the way it did? If it is, I mean, damn, I mean, that's really extreme. And again, I was quick to be intrigued by it because I was always that kid that was into all things extreme, whether it be skateboarding, or music or art, whatever, because
Mm.
it was always an escape from what I considered uh, a trap of a childhood that I really didn't agree with. I mean, I know my parents did the best they could; they still do, but
Yeah.
there's a reason why people like myself and you kind of, whether it's being bullied by people growing up or divorce or whatever the case with your parent, happy like-minded people don't seek out the type of music that we do. We identify with it because people that are writing this music feel that pain. They feel that extreme polar opposing sensations in their soul to put out
Mm.
something as creative as black metal.
Yeah.
And here I am reading about these, because y'all were all young back in '93 through '95. I mean, how old were you in '93? If you don't mind my asking.
20, 20. I'm
20,
51. I'm 51 now. I'm a 73 model. So
73 model. See, I'm not far removed from you. I mean, I was born in '80, and and like and I was like, holy shit, man! Like I was like, because I remember they had they was given the ages of Euronymous dying by the hands of Count Grishnak, and I mean I was like, dude, like they're so fucking young, like, and like just the resulting to murder and all this and that. But it's like it just it propelled me to like be even more fascinated uh, behind the music, and then like and ultimately,
Mhm.
it just like knowing more about Mayhem's discography. I just got intrigued by it with the lore of everything. And then I think I might have told you, or maybe I didn't, maybe I thought it, but I remember like being whenever you invited me after Beyond the Gates to go to Nidhogg and just chill out with y'all after, and I'm like, here I am just sitting, I don't know how many times I pinched myself because I mean these are all your friends, these are people that you grew up with in that scene, and these are people that I've only read about or was lucky enough to see them on stage at the festivals because hardly any Norwegian black metal comes out to Louisiana, not in my parts anyway. And
Yeah.
so it was just like, you know, like dreams came true for me. And, and just so I'm real sensitive to when it comes to, your experience surrounding all those people because they're not just characters in a movie. I mean, they're fucking real people, you know?
Yeah.
And and whenever you tell me something personal like uh how it took a lot for you to decide about tattooing that Burzum cover. I don't take shit like that lightly. I want you to know that.
Yeah. I didn't either. No, but it was, I don't know, it was so much more shit that went down than just, the murder of Eystein. So yeah, that was personal in a whole different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess whenever he had went to trial, I mean, it's like I guess everything that you knew about Varg, like it was, or maybe you had thoughts about him, preconceived notions about him, like what he like you probably just knew like okay, well yeah, like my this solidifies everything I know about him. He is that guy.
Yeah, well, I knew that from before,
Okay.
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know, it was weird because nobody knew that it was him
Okay.
at first.
Yeah.
Um well, nobody, but somebody did, of course. I was completely confused. I had visited my dad in Anacortes, and I was on the SAS plane home to Norway. And of course, we get the Norwegian newspapers on the flight. And it was first going to Copenhagen, and then it was going to Bergen. And the whole first front page is Satanist murder in Oslo with a picture of Eystein. And that's how I got to know that he was killed.
Mhm.
And I went into complete shock, and it was like a 10-hour flight, and I couldn't talk to anyone because it was like in 1994 or something. It was, yeah. And I had to go through Copenhagen until I found a pay booth, and I could call my mom and go, "What the hell?" And she's like, "Oh my God, we didn't think." Like, her and Agneta was going to meet me at the airport in Bergen to tell me before I saw the newspaper. They didn't think about me getting the newspaper like half a day before. So people were pretty shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just
Just by the way, I don't know why I thought about that, but yeah,
no, but I mean, it's you take away the names of the people and what happened, the dynamic of how it happened. I mean, it's shocking, and
yeah,
I'm just, I'm sorry that you of all people lost a friend, to you lost two friends,
yeah.
and
One of them I'd lost quite a while ago, so that
right,
was fine.
right, and but it's just, you know, I didn't mean to take the conversation this route, but
No, but Tinka Tinka is here to remedy that, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Um,
got too much attention again, so he's here to fix that problem.
there you go. She does have that black metal face. That's so.
Oh yeah, she does. That definitely does.
So what continues you what continues to inspire you to tattoo these days? Besides the obvious, rent and living costs and whatnot. Like I'm talking like, whatever like creative inspiration.
Yeah. I have too many ideas in my head and too little time to do it. I want to make books and so much different stuff, but I don't know. I really just really love my job, and I get to do the wood carving style. And I don't know, when people ask me when I'm going to retire, I freak out a bit. And I'm like, do I have to retire at some point? I had one client saying, um, like a few weeks ago, it's like, yeah, I want an appointment with you. You need to get in there while you're still in the business. And I'm like, am I going somewhere? Did I not get the memo?
Yeah.
You know, like I'll be in the business for a while longer. I'm just 50. Hello.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just definitely want to do this because I'm so extremely lucky that I have people, or fortunate that I have people traveling to me from all over the world to get my stuff, and they often go for 3 days in a row. How do they do that? I don't know. I'm a big wuss. I hate getting tattooed. Um, but the dedication they show me by coming and taking that for 3 days, it just makes me want to deliver better the whole time.
Right.
You know,
Lior said the same thing.
and it's really
Lior came to my house
yeah.
as I told you, and he was like, I hate getting tattooed. I was like, don't say.
He is also a big wuss. Actually, he tattooed me. I have this devil on the inside of my ankle and calf, and you feel him when he's tattooing. And I was laying there and I was like hating my life and my life decisions. And the phone rang, and it was this guy doing a telephone survey of something. And first I was like, no, I'm not answering anything. I'm hmm. I am. If you can handle me swearing and going, oh fuck, once in a while, you can ask me anything. How long would it take? And he's gonna be like, well, or he said about 20 minutes. I'm like, good, okay, let's do this. And I was just distracted by this survey dude on the phone for quite some time, at least half an hour.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was a smart move. I could ignore Lear a bit.
So how did
So,
whose idea was it to do the tarot cards? That
oh,
that
the Nordic mythology tarot cards.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Is that yours?
it's I think it was Hannah Ågren. She sells amazing jewelry and she's awesome and she's Swedish. Um, it was her and some other guys thinking out the project, and it was supposed to money from it was supposed to go to something something, and then it kind of went into something else. Now it's Seasonal Mist that have it and sell it or
Mhm.
distribute it. Um, and Kai Uwe Faust, of like the tattoo artist and one of the founders and vocalists of Heilung, he has done a lot of the drawings. And we are several tattoo artists in the Viking genre. Tuula is also in on it, who's done different drawings on it. So it's a cool project. It didn't go where it was supposed to go, but it ended up somewhere that I would guess it was supposed to go anyway. So, but it's fun.
That's a good segue for my next question for you because there's as far as that mythology, the Norwegian mythology of everything, when or how early or were you introduced to that? Because I know that the parts of Norway is Christian based and kind of and strayed away from the old ways of worship and whatnot. So what? How did you like? Where was the interest started for all
I
that?
think I think it happened by a mistake
Okay.
because when I grew up, Norway was ridiculously Christian. We had a priest as a prime minister. We had we had to do prayers and sing before we had lunch. We had to do all this stuff, and you had to be a scout or into sports. If not, you were not a proper youth. Um, so there is a reason why that second wave of black metal came from Norway. Definitely opposition. Um, but my elementary school teacher, main teacher, she was awesome. She was really strict. She was a Sunday school teacher and a scout mom or scout leader, and her two children were also scout leaders and Sunday school teachers, and they were also very Christian. She was awesome. She took us to a lot of museums, more than the other classes at school. And every day when we had our lunch break, she would read from a book loud for us. And she would very often read books from the Viking age about these thrall children who was enslaved and that escaped, and all this Viking stuff that she spun kind of out for us while we were eating.
Right.
I don't think she meant for us to become heathens by it, but that kind of happened. So elementary school was good for Viking stories. And also my dad has always been very interested in wood carving. And when I started seeing the portals of the saved churches, which are just insane, and also the Oseberg ship, the Viking ship that has been preserved with the ornaments carved into it. Yeah,
Your
all of
dad's
that
back.
got me very
Your dad's
interested.
back in Norway though, right? After moving
Yeah,
to okay, that's what I figured. 'Cause I remember you showing me pictures of his hand carvings were just so ornate and just looked like came out right out the pages of one of those Viking books.
yeah,
Is amazing.
yeah. No, so I've been interested in it for a long time.
Yep. You have any books you recommend to someone who would like to like know because there are more stories that I learned from you just via the tattoos you put on people. You know, they
Yeah,
come with an idea, and and there's always something new to learn about it. And I remember at one point I was probably in the fifth or sixth grade in middle school. Uh, just dipping my toes in Norse mythology, and I learned a little bit about it, but not nearly as I should. My son, I think I might have told you, is my oldest son, Parker. He is, I mean, he knows more about Norse mythology than I ever did. I mean,
yeah,
I remember like I told you, I showed him my tattoo, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he knew the story before I did. And like we the latest one, it was just like okay, what about Loki, getting punished by the gods, and Parker straight away called it. I'm
yeah.
like, wow, man. Like, I need to go back and read.
My oldest, I named her Isa, from the rune of ice, and she came home from school, first grade or second grade, with a note from the teacher. If I could please tell my child to write her name in ordinary letters, not just in Viking runes. And I was like, she does that? She only writes in runes? Well, I will talk to her.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah. But it surprised me because I'm not like Viking at home at all.
Yeah.
We have a shitload of skulls and stuff, but it's more metal than Viking.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah. You're
tradition.
definitely not old school Viking because of your Prosecco taste.
Yes. It tastes good in a horn as well, though.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. The finer things in life for you. There you go.
Oh yeah.
So and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about your involvement with being a festival organizer as well. You've had your share of doing that. You've put the
Well, yeah, the Black Metal Festival. in 2015, the same weekend actually as the Bataclan killings, the terror attack in Paris. Mm-hmm. It's 10 years ago this year, so I've had people going, Carmen, it's like, do it again. I'm like, no, I have to give it some thought, because it was supposed to be a one-off. And we had the bands that we had was Gehenna, Tåke, Kampfar, Galsbyrd, the debut. Old Funeral was playing. Helheim, Eternus, Hades Almighty, and we had the Clasp Ritual, which was mix. It was a present to me, which was really sweet. And it was a lot of different musicians doing, like an all-star band doing cover songs. We have that. We had 19 tattoo artists who were all really good. Like Lear was there, and Benjamin Moss, and amazing tattoo artists and really nice people. And it was the whole festival was built on a principle that nobody wanted to earn any money. Everybody, like, we made the festival for us, not for the audience. We just needed the audience, enough audience to be able to pay the bills for having the whole thing. So we didn't pay the bands. We told the bands that they would get 8 hours of tattoos to divide among themselves as they pleased, 8 hours for each band. The tattoo artists didn't have to pay the booth, but they would have to use up to 8 hours each to tattoo rock stars. They did not mind at all. We had art exhibitions with Tanya Stena, who's done a lot of artwork for Ulvar and Dark Throne and Burzum. So she exhibited some work. It was Gal's debut exhibition. I exhibited a few things. There was a lot of metal-related stuff. We also had a movie festival because we wanted to, like, open a window to the black metal scene in Norway in 1993-ish. That what we were doing back then. And we were sitting around watching a lot of weird music, or movies, I mean. So we showed Eraserhead. I wanted to show Faces of Death, but I don't think we got that far. Freaks we saw, and Tortoise King. And Jörg Buttgereit, the director, came up and showed us German Angst, his newest movie, and we had Q&A with him. And Necromantic 1 and Necromantic 2. And we had live interviews of different people connected to the scene back then. And for backstage, we had, now there is one Michelin restaurant in town. That chef, Christopher Hotuft, he's a punk at heart and mind, and a good friend. And he came over and served suckling pig, like piglet, to 70 people for almost no money. Michelin style, you know, and we had some other star chefs going to the backstage to do the backstage food. Mm-hmm. And we told the bands that if we do have any money left, we will divide it amongst the bands. And we ended up paying them like $800 each, I think. And it was just really nice because we had just had 500 people. We aimed for 500 in the audience, and it wasn't even sold out because it was a bit costly, because we wanted as few people as possible to make it go around. And a lot of people are, of course, spoiled. They're like, why would we pay $160 to come to your show when we can pay $200 and get 30 bands? And I was trying to explain, because this is special. Yeah. And Enslaved, of course, was playing also. And everybody was doing songs that maybe had never been done live before, or they got old band members up on stage. Every band was doing something special. Right. So a lot of people afterwards were like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I said so. I said you would miss out. And, you know, people were disappointed. Yep. But it went okay. And it became a documentary with a Canadian film team. So it's a documentary called Black Metal. And now it's the pun. The black with BLEKK is the Norwegian word for ink. Okay. So it's ink metal. So it's all the pun in the world for black metal.
I'll definitely go check that out, because I had no idea that existed till just now.
Well, I don't know where it's released because there was some, always rights and music and all that stuff.
Right.
So I'm not sure where you can watch it now. It went to, different film festivals around the world in Colombia and Canada and different places. But we always just wanted to release the movie. So I hope it's somewhere. I'll check it out, actually.
And so when Beyond the Gates came about, I mean, were you like the go-to point person for it to do all the I guess all the like the tattoo convention portion of the festival? How did that
No, that was
go on? It
Carmen.
was Carmen.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And she asked me, do you wanna maybe do something with that? And I'm like, yes, I'm in. Cool. So we've been the dream team ever since, and now it's the fourth year. And we're expanding it slightly, and we're having a tattoo convention that I don't know of any other tattoo convention that does this. I guess we love being tortured, but we start off with Beyond the Gates at one venue at Vafta. Then we have 2 days of tattooing there, and then we pack it down, and then we set up in Grieghall midweek, and then we have 3 days in Grieghall with the tattoo convention.
Yeah.
So we move buildings in the middle of it.
I was actually fortunate to help y'all tear down the
Yeah,
convention
thank you.
last year. Absolutely. I was like, I got nothing better to do. Why not?
Yeah.
And,
No, it's
and then
yeah.
I
And
said with the cake. And
Carmen
then,
says a big hello, by the way.
oh, please tell her I said hello as well. Uh, the 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 Cabron, I think she sent me was just delicious.
Oh
Forgot
yeah,
forgot to send her picture or video of it, but yeah, it's gone.
good. Are you aiming to come this year, by the way, for Beyond the Gates?
With this recent flooding I had at my house, it kind of
Yeah.
it put financial strain on everything I can do.
Uh,
So, but I want to. Like
yeah.
I thought about it long and hard. I even thought about like um I mean the flight's one thing, but like, trying to find a place to stay and then the actual festival ticket and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it'd have been a lot. It'd have been just too much for me.
Yeah. It's not a cheap festival.
No. It's not, but I mean, I love Bergen. Like you were spot on because I think I was maybe two or three infernos in and you were tattooing me and you was like, you got to get your ass to Bergen and see how everything is there because we have the mountains and we have the fjords and all of that. It's just it's more of Norway than most places. Um,
Yeah.
I think I'm paraphrasing what you said, but uh, but yeah, I loved it, and I was amazed at how little it did rain while I was there up until the last night of the festival because it was pouring down on us while we were tearing down the tattoo portion of the convention, and I remember we all jumped inside someone's vehicle to take us to your gallery for
Yeah. Right.
for the after party. So I mean, it was great. I want to go back. I am going back. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah, you are coming back.
Oh
That's
yeah,
no question.
yeah,
Just
100%.
wondered if it was this year, but of course the flooding and everything.
Yeah, yeah. But and that's and I think that's the beautiful thing about the this entire experience. It's just getting to know you, getting to know Carmen, and Kevin
Like,
and Mono, and everyone that's at your at Nidhogg, and it's just everyone instantly just connects, and
yeah.
and I couldn't ask for better people in my life when it comes to you and everyone I just mentioned. And it's just why
You're ruining our evil image.
y'all evil. Of course. I mean, y'all some pieces of shit. I mean, I don't know why y'all even put up with me.
See?
No, but no, I'm definitely going back. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Uh
Have you been to the Viking village yet?
I have not. I have not.
Next time you come, we should either ask Anlaug to be our designated driver because she loves to drive. I'm weird. I'm past 50. I don't have my driver's license yet. Getting there, maybe someday when I grow up. But we should have like a proper day trip and take you to the Viking village.
I would love that.
Which is like 3 hours away, and then go and see Bergen Stave Church and just have you see some amazing sights, not just Bergen.
Yeah.
We need to do that.
Yes, that is gonna happen for sure. Sometime, I'm hoping whenever airfare prices come down, towards the end of the year or beginning of next year, that's when I aim to go back. Because
Yeah,
I just love going. I just love experiencing Norway with the cold weather. It just get the full experience.
yeah. And also, I think you have a little bit left
I do. I
here,
do.
don't you?
I got a little bit.
And that's nice not to do at Inferno. We need to lay you down for that one.
Yes, absolutely. Because as you know, we were watching guitarist from 1349, and his artist was focusing on the same area, and he started out strong. I, I'm in no way am I questioning the manhood of Archeon, but my man had to lay down.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. No, we have a mission then.
yes, we do have a mission, and
Yeah.
it's going to happen. Um, Jannicke,
When it will happen, it's
yes,
good.
Jannicke, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I always enjoy talking to you and seeing you, and it's just damn shame y'all live, halfway around the world.
I agree. But we got some cold weather you can visit once in a while though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's been really nice hanging with you for a
Yes.
while.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. I miss you
Miss you too. And
in an
well,
evil sort of way, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Love you. Shit. And but yeah, if anyone knows who hasn't seen her artwork, you can go to her Instagram profile for the Nidhogg Gallery, or is it the Instagram is Jannicke?
Yes, my name, Jannicke Wiese-Hansen
Yep.
or
And
Wiese-Hansen.
I'll put all that for those who are ill informed of your talents in the episode captions and all descriptions and all that good stuff, so they could see what you're about. Again, thank you so much for everything that you do, and I always enjoy talking to you, and I hope to do it again soon.
Thanks the same. Definitely. I will see you soon.
See you soon.